UFC Fight Night Vegas 8, Smith vs Rakic takes place this weekend, and these are my fighters to watch out for on that card. There are plenty of talented fighters amongst that card that are going to fly a little bit under the radar, and that's the point of this video. Pay attention. These are the guys to watch out for at UFC Vegas 8, starting with, as the early prelim opener, which I believe shouldn't even be the early prelim opener. In my opinion, this person first on my list has earned their position at least in the headliner of a prelim card, or at least on the main card of a fight night. Come on. He's the early prelim opener here. Sean Brady, 12-0, undefeated, great grappler, dominant guy in the division. So far has looked amazing since joining the UFC. Taught Ismail Nurdiev a lesson. I just want to talk about this for a second here, just to let you know just how serious things are. Sean Brady beat Ismail Nurdiev. Nurdiev was 2-1 in the UFC before Sean Brady beats him. Brady beat Nurdiev in a way where Nurdiev thought to himself, I need to leave the promotion and practice hard or I'm going to lose a lot of fights to come. Sean Brady did that to someone. He effectively ridded the UFC of someone, even though Ismail Nurdiev didn't even have to leave the UFC. He could have fought a lower down competition opponent, but Sean Brady, it wasn't even that dominant of a performance, but it just shows you. Clearly there's something that Sean Brady is doing that a guy in Ismail Nurdiev, who was a very credentialed guy going into their fight, 19-3 as a record, amazing fighter to go in there against Sean Brady, thought to himself, a young guy, 19-3 with a ton of experience and youth on his side, thought to himself, I'm not ready after what Sean Brady just did to me. Sean Brady is a dangerous guy. He went out there and beat Court McGee. Now, a lot of people do get past Court McGee, don't get me wrong. Not a lot of people look good against him. Diego Lima arguably could have lost that Court McGee fight, and Diego Lima is a guy right now on a 3-fight win streak at welterweight. Sean Brady went out there and made it look really, really good. Really good against a guy in Court McGee who, again, beat Robert Whittaker not too long ago. A lot of people forget about that win. I know Robert Whittaker was a completely different guy back then, but Court McGee is a scrapper who has some good wins on his resume. Of course, he has some losses as well, but Sean Brady really looked good against him in a Court McGee who looked good against Diego Lima in his fight before that one. Definitely not over the hill, because he came out there and, as I said, maybe could have beaten Diego Lima at some point in that fight. It was a very close one. I thought Diego Lima should have won. Close fight, could have gone either way, but Sean Brady is a dangerous guy now, 13-0, or 13-0, sorry, or 12-0. He's soon, I'm thinking ahead of myself here. I'm thinking he does go out there and beat Christian Aguilera. It's a good matchup for him because Christian Aguilera, although a dangerous opponent, I'm also going to talk about him in this video as well. I feel like he deserves a little bit of a spotlight too. Although Christian Aguilera is a dangerous opponent, there's nothing I would want more if I was a wrestler with a great double leg and great takedowns than a guy who's going to be winging big overhands towards me, and that's what Christian Aguilera does. I feel like Sean Brady's going to find his opportunities, ducking under those big shots, getting the takedowns and securing himself the rounds, eventually finishing with a third round TKO. I'll go with a submission. I feel like Sean Brady will get it done by third round submission. He's not too much of a finisher, but I feel like against a quick starter in Aguilera, who tends to fade as the rounds go on, Sean Brady's going to take advantage of the moment to get himself a finish and maybe earn himself a different position on the card, because he shouldn't be opening the early prelims. He's undefeated, 13-0. Week or 12-0, I'm still getting ahead of myself here. Sean Brady's a dangerous man. Also in his last fight, he showed me that he can hang on the feet a little bit as well with Ismail Nurdiev. Although Ismail Nurdiev's really good on the feet, Sean Brady showed that he has the awareness of striking not to get caught by a guy in Ismail Nurdiev, because Nurdiev's dangerous. Incredibly, incredibly dangerous. And Sean Brady went out there with the striking awareness to avoid the big shots as he came in, to avoid getting lit up on the feet, and implemented his wrestling well. I think he's going to do that against Christian Aguilera as well. But Christian Aguilera, let's talk about him for a second. I almost hope he wins. I like undefeated fighters in the welterweight division. I really do. I like undefeated fighters in any division, to be honest with you. I feel like they're good for the sport, but still. Christian Aguilera is one of those dangerous veterans who, although does not have a terrifying looking record of 14-6, I promise you, he's a dangerous, dangerous guy. We saw that in his last fight against Anthony Ivy, who was 8-2 at the time, doing pretty well in his career, looking like he was going to do okay in the UFC. A lot of people were picking him to win. I picked him to win that fight as well. Aguilera had a real dangerous looking record back then. I mean, 13-6 when he showed up to Anthony Ivy. That's not the record you're kind of looking to see from a guy who's going to go far in the UFC, but he's a young guy, 28 years of age, Still got a little bit of time before we get to his prime, and he just went out there and dusted up Anthony Ivy in the first round spectacularly. Also, something I want to note there as well. It says something about a guy's KO power when you don't even land a good shot. Like, he didn't even land a good shot on Anthony Ivy. He caught him with front knuckles on the forehead, a check hook, and Anthony Ivy just went down to it. And even after that, Christian Aguilera, the finishing ability, I think he landed like I don't even know what it was that he went for, like a standing hammer fist, a hammer forearm that he went for on Anthony Ivy. His finishing ability was so crisp, went for the uppercut straight away, realized that he had Anthony Ivy hurt. That's the finishing ability that we're looking for in the UFC, and the finishing instinct that you need to go far in the promotion. I feel like he's a dangerous threat to Sean Brady. I think Brady's going to win, but I want to give credit to Aguilera because, listen, I feel like I'm going to be saying this for a long time to come. Travis Jones, he might not even be called Travis. He might not even be called Travis. Trevin Jones just beat Timo Valiev by KO. Like, these things can happen in MMA, especially when you're a dangerous guy with KO power in Christian Aguilera. He's extremely exciting. I think Brady, if he does get past this one, it will tell me a lot about his fight IQ that he's able to avoid the threat of Christian Aguilera, because sometimes you'll see with these wrestlers, they go out there against a guy who they know is dangerous on the feet, but still, they don't find their way into the grappling the way they should. They still kind of test things out for a little bit too long, and they can pay sometimes as well. I want to see how quickly Sean Brady realizes the risk of Aguilera on the feet and chooses to implement his game plan, because it's easier said than done. And I think it will tell me a lot about his fight IQ. I'm picking Sean Brady to win, but both of these guys, you've got to watch out for him. Moving on to another fighter on the card that you guys need to be paying attention to. Alessio Di Chirico is a dangerous man. And not only is he a dangerous man, but he's someone that is really going to be flying under the radar, because a lot of people look at his UFC record and his record in general. I know he's not undefeated like Sean Brady. I understand that. He's 12-4. He's 30 years of age. Normally, you wouldn't expect him to see on... You wouldn't expect to see a guy with those kind of stats in terms of age and record on this kind of list, but Christian Aguilera is already in this video, so, you know, we're scraping the bottom of the barrel here. Alessio Di Chirico, I feel like, has looked really good in his last two losses. Not a phrase that you can say often in the MMA world. He went to a split decision, or not a split decision, a unanimous decision loss to Kevin Holland, which... Even just then, I made the mistake of saying split decision. It could have been a win for Alessio Di Chirico as much as it was a win for Kevin Holland. Don't get me wrong, both of them have their moments. I think it truly could have gone either way. They ended up giving it a unanimous decision to Kevin Holland. I reckon a split decision would have made things look a little bit better to Alessio Di Chirico. But again, after that Kevin Holland fight, who we know how good he is now, Kevin Holland is a monster right now. Made it look really close with him, fought to a split decision, then went out there against Makhmud Muradov. He was coming off a loss, and he signed to fight Makhmud Muradov. On the come-up, nice and fresh, young guy. Alessio Di Chirico means business, and I'll say this. Makhmud Muradov is a savage, and Alessio Di Chirico did really, really good. In some moments, I thought, hang on a second, this decision is going to be interesting. I know Makhmud Muradov was outlanding Alessio Di Chirico, but Alessio Di Chirico in that fight was... just sending Makhmud Muradov into the fucking cage, left, right, and center in that fight. He was landing big shots, which is not something we're used to seeing in Muradov's fights. Alessio Di Chirico went toe-to-toe on the feet and looked amazing against a great kickboxer in his last bout. I think he's going to bounce back. He's tried to sign a lot of fights, which shows me that he's healthy. He wants to stay active. He just hasn't been able to yet. Wanted to fight Marcus Perez in April, wanted to fight Abu Azatar in April, wanted to fight Antonio Arroyo in November of last year. He's wanted to be in there, which shows me that he's healthy. I feel like he's going to go back and get a big win against Zach Cummings, who, I'll be honest with you guys, maybe it's time to go. Zach Cummings has a good win in his career against Trevin Giles, but then again, Trevin Giles almost lost to James Krause, a welterweight, on a day's notice, so I don't really know how much credit I give that win. But still... Zach Cummings is a dangerous opponent, an older guy. I think Alessio Di Chirico is going to go out there and look really good against a guy who maybe it's time to call it quits, because Zach Cummings, you're 36 now. You know, how about you take the road to Patrick Cummins? Time to go. Time to go. I feel like Alessio Di Chirico is going to come up real big on this card, looking for a good win. I think he'll win it pretty impressively as well, and if he does win, he'll be looking for a greater opponent up the divisional rankings, and I could see a matchup being made between him and I have no idea. Kevin Holland is still fighting at middleweight. I don't see them making that rematch whatsoever because right now they've really got something with Kevin Holland signed to fight Darren Stewart recently. But listen, if Darren Stewart beats Kevin Holland, Darren Stewart, Alessio Di Chirico, if Darren Stewart wins, he'll be on a 2-fight win streak. He doesn't quite have the same hype that Kevin Holland has, so I don't think they're going to be jumping him up anytime soon. If he does win this fight this weekend, Alessio Di Chirico, he's going to be in a real good spot. I just hope he stays active because he is 30 years of age. And I really like to see guys take advantage of their youth while they still have it. I really want guys to be rushing when they're in their prime. Like a guy like Daniel Rodriguez on last week's card. I don't even know how old he is. I believe he's like 33 or something like that. He is rushing. Like he's taking a fight every 2 or 3 months. He's not giving up whatsoever. He's making the most of his prime. He understands what position of life he is in. And he's looking good while doing it. I like the urgency. I want to see urgency from Alessio Di Chirico because my fear is we'll never get to see his full potential because it will already be too late and he'll be past his prime. We'll see what goes down though, guys. Thank you for watching the card. I hope I've given you guys some people to watch out for. But as I said, Sean Brady is the main one in this video if I was to pick one out. I was going to do some fighters to watch out for and include maybe some names like Mallory Martin, but she's 6-3. Or maybe a name like Emily Whitmire, but she's 4-3. You know, so it's kind of hard to pick out some names. I've already made a video of Caceres versus Chikedzi, but I feel like those guys need some notice. Obviously, Impa Kasanganay is 7-0 on the card as well from the Contender Series. I think Maki Pitolo is going to win this one, which is why I kind of stuck away from Impa Kasanganay. Also, I believe that Impa Kasanganay is not the best fighter in the world. I've seen his opponent's records, and, you know, I saw his fight on the Contender Series. It wasn't ridiculously impressive, and if Dana White had not gotten just back from a holiday, I don't think he would have been giving him a contract whatsoever. But Kasanganay, I believe, is also a guy to watch out for, though. Good card, man. This weekend's card is actually such a sleeper. You don't realise sometimes with cards until they're right there in front of you and they post like a full schedule so you can actually see it and take it all in. I mean, this shits on Munoz Edgar. Munoz Edgar doesn't even hold a crumb to this card this weekend. What were they doing? Surely they should just slide a fight from this card onto that card, then we can have 2 good cards. Why is there this imbalance? Doesn't make any sense. It's pretty retarded. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button there. Goodbye. Sean Brady's the man.